Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Tyler here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about life cycle events and how we can kind of clean up our Svelte's life cycles, because sometimes people don't understand how the life cycles really work inside of Svelte's or other frameworks, and they can kind of run into some issues with regards to intervals and timeouts and other things like that. So let's kind of discuss how they work. So inside of the app.svelte, I just have a component and a toggle button. Inside the component, I have, well, the component goes here, and I have been alive for 0 seconds. When I click this button, it just shows and hides the component. Pretty self-explanatory. Now let's say inside of the secondary component, I want this number to increment every second. So that sounds pretty simple, right? We just create an interval, right? Like let interval is equal to set interval. And then we can just call it every second, not 100 milliseconds. There we go. And we can just do like time plus plus, right? So that's pretty simple. That's something that everyone should know how to do by now. And we can just increment the time, and it all works, right? So we're going up, we're toggling the component. Everything seems to be working just as we would expect. However, we have a memory leak right now. And it's not a big memory leak, but going on long and long enough, this will keep using memory and it won't free it. And this is not a good thing. For example, we're at 2.1 megabytes of memory. But if I keep clicking this, we will go up to 2.2 pretty quickly. There we go, 2.2. So what do I mean by that? How do I know this is a memory leak? Well, for example, if we run this and instead just console.log, interval time, and then we do time plus plus, right? So pretty much the same thing we were doing before, but we're also logging so we know what we're doing. So you can see every second this is going up. But watch what happens if I create a couple components. This number all of a sudden is skyrocketing. Look at that. It's at 80, 90. It's clearly not going up every second. These should be in sync. But that's because it's never getting rid of this timer. So how do we fix that, right? Well, one thing we need to do is understand that when we create a component in Svelte, we can handle an event called onMounts. And when we delete a component, we can also do that. So we can import the onMounts function and the onDestroy, right? Functions from Svelte. And what we can do with these is exactly as they sound. When we create a component, we can call onMounts, which gets called whenever the component's getting created. So we can console.log created, I'm just going to call it created. And then onDestroy is what gets called right before we actually destroy this component. So if I just console.log destroying, right? Okay, so just as you'd expect, we get created, our interval timer. When we click destroy, we get destroyed. But what you see is this timer, right, is still doing pretty bad behavior. It's going up way quicker than it should be. So how do we fix this? Well, one thing we can do is clear the interval. And that's actually what you need to do. When you use intervals in Svelte, React, any of these languages, you actually have to clear it because currently, again, we're dealing with a memory leak here. It's not a serious memory leak, but if you were, say, requesting data, it's going to constantly be making those asynchronous requests. And if you're requesting a lot of data on interval, you will very quickly run the user out of RAM. And Chrome might freeze up this tab. So I just want to bring that up. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to leave interval like this. And onMounts, so when we create the component, I'm going to do interval is equal to set interval. So we can actually set the interval every second, right? And just do time plus plus, just as before. And in fact, I'm going to still log, so that way I can prove to you that there's still a memory, or there's no memory leak anymore. I'm just going to log. And then on destroy, what we do is we just do interval is equal, or clear interval, sorry. We do clear interval, and we pass in the interval we want to clear. So what's going to happen is it's going to, on creation of this component, so on mount, we're going to create an interval and start incrementing it, okay? Just like we would expect. And then on destroy, we're going to destroy this interval and everything with it. So what you see is we get the log text. When we destroy it, we get destroying, but you can see our log is gone. It's not there anymore. For example, if we spam this now, you can already tell that this worked because we only are getting logs when it's showing, and we're only getting one every second. So that is an example of lifecycle events with Svelte. These are very, very important to know for very specific use cases like this, but this is a use case you will run into a lot. And when we actually start dealing with Electron and Svelte together, one thing we might want to do is consistently ping our backend API every, say, 5 seconds, whatever, for more CPU information. And if we don't stop doing that, we will very quickly run the user out of memory because we get a lot of data back at a time. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.